Let's begin with a hard truth. Most people don't even know why they do what they do. They lie, they smile, they help you, flatter you, admire you, then disappear, betray, manipulate, or quietly drain your energy. And no, this isn't just about bad people. This is about all of us. Because as Robert Greene reminds us in The Laws of Human Nature, we are all actors. We wear masks, and we play roles to survive. You think you're rational, but your decisions are driven by emotions you don't even recognize. You think your coworker supports you, but you miss the subtle envy behind their compliments. You think your partner understands you, but beneath their patience is quiet resentment, waiting to erupt. It's not paranoia, it's reality. And if you don't see it, you're not safe. Let me give you a simple example. Imagine a friend named Jane. She constantly posts about kindness, empathy, and holding space. But the moment someone gets more attention than her, she turns cold, passive-aggressive. Why? Because underneath her compassion lies an unmet hunger for validation. Now imagine Paul, your boss. He praises your initiative, tells others how lucky he is to have you. But when you outperform him in front of upper management, he stops replying to your emails. No explanation, no confrontation, just quiet sabotage. These aren't exceptions. They're the rules of human behavior. Rules you were never taught to see. That's why Robert Greene's work is so vital. In his book, The Laws of Human Nature, he breaks down human psychology into 18 brutal, honest laws. Not to make you cynical, but to make you prepared. And in this video, we're diving into the first 9. From emotional manipulation, to self-deception, to envy, to seduction. You'll see exactly why people behave the way they do. And how to protect your mind, your boundaries, and your peace. Let's begin with Law 1. You think you're rational, but you're not. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever sent a message you regretted? Raised your voice in a meeting? Assumed the worst, only to realize you misunderstood? Of course you have. We all have. Because beneath our polished masks and well-constructed logic, we are emotional creatures first, rational thinkers second. Robert Greene opens his book with a piercing truth. You like to imagine yourself in control of your life. But the reality is that emotions rule you far more than you think. And science backs this up. In our brains, the amygdala, the emotion processor, is older and faster than the neocortex, our logical center. It reacts in milliseconds, flooding us with fear, desire, anger, jealousy, long before we get the chance to think. So when someone criticizes you, your body interprets it as a threat. Your heart races. You defend. You lash out. Only later, sometimes hours later, do you reflect and think, why did I say that? This is emotional hijacking, and it happens every day, in every room, to almost everyone. Greene warns. If you don't become aware of your emotional patterns, you'll be controlled by people who are. People who know how to trigger you, who use flattery to manipulate, silence to intimidate, praise to condition. That's why awareness is power. The power to pause, the power to observe, the power to choose your reaction rather than be run by it. He calls this tactical detachment. When you feel a surge, whether it's excitement, jealousy, anger, or even love, you don't suppress it. You observe it. You name it. You watch it move through you like a wave, without letting it steer your actions. Imagine being in a heated argument, and instead of exploding, you take a breath. You listen. You ask, why does this bother me so much? That moment of reflection is the difference between being a pawn and being the player. It's not about suppressing emotion. It's about training it. Emotions are signals, not commands. And when you master them, you no longer react to life like a puppet. You respond with power. So here's your first step in decoding human nature. Every person who has power over others knows how to keep control over themselves. Everyone else? They're being played. Law 2 transforms self-love into empathy. Let's begin with something uncomfortable. We are all narcissists. Not just some people. Not just the arrogant ones. Robert Greene writes, we are all narcissists. It's the degree that differs. Deep inside every one of us is a hunger to be seen, to matter, to be admired. This hunger starts in childhood, and if we never make it conscious, it becomes the silent driver of our adult behavior. Some people seek admiration through perfection, some through victimhood, some by helping everyone, so they feel important, and some just disappear into others entirely. But here's the problem. The more unaware you are of your own narcissism, the more likely it is to leak out in damaging ways. To manipulate, to blame, to cling. That's why Greene says the cure isn't rejection, but transformation. You can't kill your self-love, but you can elevate it by developing empathy. And empathy doesn't mean agreeing. It means observing others with curiosity, seeing their needs, their fears, their wounds, without taking it personally. When you meet a difficult person, ask yourself, what is this person really hungry for? Validation? Power? Security? That question changes everything. Because once you stop reacting to their behavior, you start understanding the why behind it. And that's where your power begins. Law 3: See through the masks. Now let's look at the other half of the deception, the mask. We all wear them. At work, we become confident professionals. With family, we play the peacemaker. With friends, we act cooler than we feel. Robert Greene explains. People like to present a particular front to the world. But behind that mask is often something very different. Here's a painful truth. Most people don't know who they really are, because they've spent years being who they needed to be. That friendly coworker might be hiding deep insecurity. That stoic leader might be afraid of being judged. That ever-happy friend might be quietly collapsing. And unless you learn to read through the mask, you'll keep getting blindsided. So how do you do it? Greene offers this advice. Don't listen to words. Watch patterns. How do they treat those they can't gain from? Do their actions match their persona? What happens when they're under pressure? These are the cracks where truth leaks out. And once you see the pattern, you stop taking things so personally and start navigating with clarity. Even better, you start seeing your own masks. Where do you overcompensate? What roles do you play to be accepted? This is hard work, but it's the beginning of real power. Not the kind that controls others, but the kind that frees you. So remember, empathy gives you insight. Seeing through the mask gives you vision. And when you put both together, you're no longer easily fooled by others or by yourself. Now that we've learned how emotions and masks shape behavior, let's go deeper into the hidden forces that drive people, often without their awareness. Law 4: Know that people are governed by their character, not their words. You've probably heard someone say, "I've changed. I'll never do that again. I promise this time is different." But Robert Greene warns, character is deeply ingrained. It emerges in patterns, not promises. Someone might want to be better, but if they haven't examined their deeper patterns, how they react to stress, how they seek control, how they justify harm, they'll just repeat old behavior in new costumes. This is why Greene urges you to watch patterns, not intentions. People don't do what they say they believe. They do what their character compels them to do. Your job is not to judge, but to observe. Law 5: Beware the fragile ego. People will do anything to protect it. At the heart of human nature is the need to preserve identity, even when that identity is built on illusion. Greene explains. When someone's sense of self is threatened, they'll lie, attack, deny, or collapse, often without knowing why. That's why feedback feels like an attack. Why people lash out over small things. Why even the most rational minds suddenly become defensive. If you don't recognize this ego protection mechanism in others, you'll waste energy trying to reason with a wounded identity. Instead, Greene says, step back. Use empathy, but don't step into the storm. Let truth land softly, or wait until they're ready to hear it. Law 6: Understand that everyone is after something. Every person you meet wants something. Love, respect, power, approval, sometimes even revenge. This is the law of covert motivations. Greene urges you to read people's desires before you trust their words. Ask, what are they pursuing, really? What emptiness are they trying to fill? What reward are they secretly chasing? If you can identify what someone wants, you'll never be surprised by what they do. Law 7: Don't be seduced by appearance. Look at substance. We live in an age of branding, performance, optics. But Greene warns, people can look virtuous while being deeply manipulative, and they can appear cold while being deeply loyal. Don't judge by charisma. Look for consistency under pressure. How does someone behave when they have nothing to gain? That's when their true nature emerges. Law 8: Tap into the power of purpose. This one shifts inward. Greene says the strongest minds are not those with force, but those with clarity of aim. When you have a sense of inner purpose, you're less reactive to the world. You make choices from alignment, not approval. He writes, a sense of purpose acts like a filter. It keeps you from being seduced by petty emotions. Don't just chase success. Chase clarity. and let that clarity protect you from the noise. Law 9. Confront your shadow side. Now for the most uncomfortable truth of all. You are not who you think you are. You are also your envy, your fear, your rage. You are your need to dominate, to be admired, to be right. Greene borrows from Carl Jung here. What we repress doesn't disappear, it controls us from the dark. If you don't face your shadow, it leaks out in jealousy, addiction, arrogance, or sabotage. But if you do confront it, if you bring it into the light, you become whole. This is the beginning of true mastery. So far, we've learned that emotions dominate reason unless trained, that people wear masks to survive, that narcissism is universal, but empathy is transformational, that patterns reveal more than promises, and that the shadow we fear is the key to freedom. But we're only halfway through. In the next episode, we'll explore how to spot manipulators before they strike, how envy silently destroys relationships, why people follow false leaders willingly, and how to develop psychological independence in a world built on influence. The second half of the laws of human nature is where things get even darker and even more empowering. So if you want to learn how to think clearly, lead wisely, and live above the chaos, subscribe and stay tuned, because next time we enter the deep end.